There seems to be a question that keeps being brought up in the MMA media recently about Stipe Miocic and when is he going to defend his belt, and this question came up once again recently after Ngannou KO'd Rosenstruik because the heavyweight title picture was put in question. What's going to happen next? When is Ngannou going to be able to fight for the belt? Is he going to have to wait after the winner of DC versus Stipe Miocic if they're still around, because we know that DC is going to retire once he gets the belt? And should Stipe, and this question keeps coming up a bit, and I have no idea why it keeps coming up, but should Stipe Miocic be stripped for not fighting soon enough for Daniel Cormier's terms and conditions for when he gets his title shot? I have no idea how this is even a question. Stipe Miocic is the heavyweight champion of the world. The last time I checked, the heavyweight champion of the world, and any champion of the world, is the one who decides when he defends his title. I understand if he decides not to defend it for a whole year and sit out for a very, very, very long time, I really do get that there should be some kind of question of, okay, when are you going to defend it? But when the reason that he has not defended his heavyweight belt is because of the deliberate cheating and eye pokes from Daniel Cormier in their first and second fight, more so in the second fight because the eye pokes weren't working for DC as well in the second fight, so he had to keep fucking going for him over and over and over again deliberately. And the question's being asked of why Stipe should be stripped. But Stipe's out because of those fouls, because of those injuries. Stipe is not just sitting out on the sidelines doing nothing because he doesn't want to fight Daniel Cormier. I don't understand why that narrative keeps coming up. Daniel Cormier keeps saying, if Stipe doesn't want to fight me, then this and this. He's signed to fight you twice already. He signed to fight you when you were a lower weight champion coming up where he had nothing to gain from you whatsoever. That's when he first signed to fight you. Then, after you KO'd him in the first round, proving how scared Stipe was, he signed to fight you again in his immediate rematch. Okay, because he was the most defending heavyweight champion in the world, and in my opinion, right now, the greatest heavyweight of all time. I don't understand why all of a sudden DC seems to think that he calls the shots in the division, and he is the champion. I don't know why the MMA media is not calling him out for it, because he keeps coming out there and saying Stipe should do this, Stipe should play the game more was another thing that he was saying, and everyone seems to be dancing around every interviewer that talks to DC, in Ariel Helwani, Brett Okamoto, anyone who seems to be around him, Luke Thomas maybe at the time as well, never seems to mention, hey DC, don't you think it's a bit mean of you to start asking when Stipe Miocic is going to come back and ordering Stipe Miocic to come back soon enough for you when the only reason he is off was because of the injuries you gave him for deliberate fouls in your second and first fights? That's the only reason Stipe Miocic has not returned to the octagon yet. He also mentioned something about the gyms not being open, but his main topic as why he was not back in the cage yet was because of his eyes. He wants to rest his eyes. His doctor said he's got the A-OK, but he'd still give it some time. So that's what Stipe Miocic is going to do. That is not on Stipe Miocic. I have no idea why they're even considering stripping Miocic at this point. It makes zero sense, and I think it would do the UFC a great disservice. I don't know why Daniel Cormier thinks he has this power. First of all, you're lucky to be getting a trilogy in the first place. And I'm going to have to be very calm in this video because I've got a lot of things to say to Daniel Cormier here. He's being a little bit of a brat right now. People forget that not too long ago, when Daniel Cormier was the heavyweight champion of the world, where was Stipe Miocic's rematch? The only reason you took a Stipe Miocic rematch in the first place, before you start ordering him to give you a trilogy, was because you couldn't get a fight with Brock Lesnar. If you got a fight with Brock Lesnar, DC, you said it yourself, you would retire on the spot. Not giving Stipe his rematch whatsoever. I have no idea why DC is being so hypocritical, and I have every idea why the MMA media is not calling him out for it. He is now an employee of the UFC, which means he is favoritized by the company, and a lot of people say that some fighters are favoritized over others. A lot of people say about Conor McGregor, but when you really look at the situations here, I'm just saying, when you really look at the situations, you've got a lower weight world champion, DC, Conor McGregor, moves up in weight, takes the belt at that weight class as well, okay? And then DC gets an immediate rematch when he loses that belt. I know that DC defended it. I am fully aware of that. I completely understand. However, Conor McGregor didn't go no preferential treatment. Conor McGregor was told to fight Donald Cerrone in the meantime, you know? Like, at least they might be on the same level here in how they're being treated by the company, but Daniel Cormier recently has been the golden child of the UFC and he can do no wrong, and they're organising title fights around a challenger. I have no idea why this is even a conversation. Daniel Cormier, you fought Derek Lewis instead of giving Stipe his rematch that you said you would give him. Then you found every excuse in the book not to fight Stipe Miocic, including trying to look for a fight with Brock Lesnar for a full fucking year. You say that Stipe waited a year for his immediate rematch because you made him wait a year for his immediate rematch, and he knew he was going to get it if you didn't get a fight with Brock Lesnar. I have no idea why Daniel Cormier in every interview says so much and just gets away with it from interviewers. And it's one of the reasons why maybe I should not do interviews with fighters, because I might not be able to hold back if DC's staring me in the face during an interview, like Ariel Helwani was listening to him, and saying that I offered Stipe his rematch, now he should give me the trilogy and make it happen, why is he taking so long? People need to really hit DC with a bit of a reality check here, because he's piping up a bit too much. And I just want to say this. He deliberately fouled and cheated against the champion of the world, smashed his fucking eyes out with fingers, so not really smashed, gouged his eyes out with fingers intentionally to get an advantage, because that's what got him the advantage in the first fight. He kept doing it over and over and over again in the rematch, and now he is telling the champion of the world that he might be stripped and he might be fighting someone else for the belt. I have no idea, and the worst part about all of this is the UFC is backing him up. Stipe Miocic is a fireman right now during the pandemic. I don't think it would be a very good look for the UFC if they were to fire someone who during a pandemic does not want to fight at the moment because his gym is closed. I really don't think that would be a great idea at all marketing wise. I think that the entire world would crash down on the UFC like a ton of bricks, to be honest with you. If the media found out that the UFC was stripping world champions that were not willing to fight during a pandemic, that's really bad press, and we've just got some good press from UFC 249 because nothing really went wrong. One fighter had the coronavirus, then he got taken off the card, everyone was tested, and it all seemed like everything was back to normal. If you start stripping champions because they don't want to fight during a pandemic because their gym is closed and they're recovering from eye gouges in their last fights, it's ridiculous to even suggest such a thing. I have no idea why this conversation keeps being brought up, and it's being brought up so much that I'm worried that it might actually happen. I really am, because what if Stipe Miocic says, no, I can't fight until August, my eyes are fucked up because DC kept poking him out, and then DC and Francis Ngannou agree to a fight in July, and Stipe Miocic is cut of his belt, he doesn't get his belt anymore, DC and Francis fight for the vacant world championship. It makes zero sense. Stipe beat Francis. How is Francis going to fight for a belt stripped from Stipe when he lost to him? I know Ngannou's on a streak right now, and I would even predict that Francis would beat Stipe in a rematch, but this is just absolute retardation here. I have no idea. It's just, I don't even know how this is a thing. You're a challenger. How about a reality check? You got slept in the rematch. You're lucky you're getting a trilogy. You shouldn't even be getting a trilogy. You defended a belt once. People were questioning if Max Holloway should get a rematch. That only just got decided. People were arguing, oh, maybe Korean Zombie, maybe this, maybe that. You're getting an immediate rematch. You're in a very lucky position to even be getting this trilogy, and that's still not enough for you? You can't wait an extra month for Stipe Miocic. And by the way, DC, don't act like you're ready to go now either. And I don't like that opinion whatsoever, because DC recently, I don't know if you've noticed him, he's got a little bit thick. Okay, and I'm just going to say that. He is not in, it's not like DC's currently in fight camp, fucking frothing at the mouth to get back at Stipe Miocic. DC's doing his commentary work. DC's got a show with Ariel Helwani. He's not training in the gym waiting for Stipe Miocic to be ready and just eager to go right now. I have no idea about this whole situation. Like, Khabib Nurmagomedov refused to fight during a pandemic because he didn't want to. There was no question of stripping him whatsoever. Not a single question of stripping him. I know they just made an interim belt, but there was no question of taking Khabib's belt away. And Stipe Miocic is off for an injury, by the way. An eye poke injury from the challenger that intentionally injured him in their fight. Okay? That's why Stipe Miocic is off and didn't want to fight too soon. Khabib Nurmagomedov is off because he did not want to fight. He had an opportunity to get out of Russia within 2 days and continue to fight with Ferguson. I'm not saying that Khabib should have fought. I know it's a terrible situation to be in last minute when you've got a world championship on the line in the biggest fight of your life at the time against Tony Ferguson, which sadly we might never get to see again. So sad. But either way, They didn't talk anything about stripping Khabib. There's been champions that have been off for way longer than this. There was never a question of stripping them. I don't understand why everyone seems to be cornering Stipe Miocic and forcing him to fight before he's ready to fight. We can wait until August. We've got Usman Masvidal waiting for go, but you'd rather give Masvidal an extra few options instead of making that title fight. So clearly you're not in desperation to make title fights, because currently you're freezing the championship of the welterweight division. Okay, there was a fight that was supposed to happen in June, and that was said ages ago, between Masvidal and Usman. You cancelled that because you want to give Masvidal a different money fight. Clearly, championship bouts are not in high demand right now for your cards. Otherwise, you wouldn't be not making Masvidal versus Usman, surely. So why are you so eager to strip Stipe Miocic? He's off for an injury caused by a foul. This is not like he tripped over at home. He's off of an injury caused in a fight by fouls by DC, and no one mentions this. I'd love to just see DC and just say, you're a filthy cheat, because that's exactly what he is. Everyone says that DC is a very nice guy, everyone gets along with him, and that's why the MMA media aren't saying anything about this. They're rallying behind DC. They're acting as though the eye pokes didn't happen. They're acting as though Stipe is not off for an injury and is just saying that he doesn't want to get back because gym isn't open and the pandemic and all of this. And everyone's kind of rallying behind DC here. I have no idea why. You're a filthy cheat. You're lucky to be getting a trilogy. You didn't want to give Stipe his rematch in the first place, and only because your plans didn't work out did you ever give Stipe a rematch in the first place, and it backfired because you tried to eye poke him in the rematch. It didn't work. Sorry, it worked, but Stipe Miocic still KO'd you in round 4. Time for a reality check. You're lucky to be even getting a trilogy. Wait until August because Stipe's the champion and he decides when he should defend his belt. That's how it works. You have no power here. I don't understand why DC's getting all of this. And then even people were talking about DC would love to be the president of the UFC when Dana White's gone. Hang on a second. What is all of this about DC recently? Gets the commentary position. Oh, and I like DC. He seems like a nice guy. But all of a sudden, people are giving him a lot of... they're not giving him any flack whatsoever, and they're giving him a lot of bypasses on a lot of the shit that's coming out of his mouth. If you ever hear DC talk about Stipe Miocic, he will never mention the eye injuries. He will always say that Stipe Miocic wants to have more time and wait until later. He's got to play the game a bit. You're a fighter, not a firefighter, and all this. The reason he's off, DC, is because you're a filthy cheat. You wait as long as he wants you to wait. We're not stripping Stipe Miocic, and we'll make the trilogy whenever. You don't call the shots. You're a challenger who's lucky to be getting a trilogy. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I have no idea why the UFC are even getting behind DC here. Dana White hates GSP. I know he just got inducted into the Hall of Fame, but to be fair, how couldn't you? You know? I know Dana White hates GSP because GSP gets belts, vacates them, ruining a division. Why is he all on board for DC getting a belt, vacating it, and ruining the heavyweight division? It's just a weird situation, and it's so weird and unexplainable that I think it's actually going to happen. And if it does happen, I'm going to be very pissed off, and I hope the media gives the UFC bad press. Even if they are fake news. CNN, Clinton News Network. What's up? See you later. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. Goodbye. I just thought the whole situation was utter bullshit. Stipe Miocic calls the shots, not the challenger who just got knocked out in round 4 after deliberate eye pokes. Fuck you.